This is Iceman John Bailey. Wanted to do another segment on my Triax. I just want to talk a little bit about my final hunting setup. Once again, I went with the HHA Ultra sight. I've changed my rest to the QAD HDX. I just favor that one a little bit better because I guess I'm just so used to it. And I shortened my loop on my string because my loop in the beginning was just a little bit too short. I'm sorry, a little bit too long, and I felt like I was overextending myself at full draw. But for me to achieve what I want in a bow, I have to make sure I have the right things and not too many things on my bow. What I mean by that is I can't have too many silencers everywhere, like in the limbs and just everywhere on the bow. And that'll, on the riser it doesn't matter, but in the limbs it can affect, and on the string it can affect your feet per second. Because I like to get my bow once again at 300 feet per second or just a little bit over. And I chronoed my bow last week after I finalized my setup, and I was getting 311 with my hunting arrow, and that was a little bit more than what I anticipated. So I believe this bow is just a little bit faster than the Hayline because of the axle to axle. It's 28 inches, and that's why I really believe that it's a little bit faster than that. But like I said, I simplify everything on my bow. Kisser button is very important to me for low light conditions, because like I said, when I'm at full draw, the kisser button's in the corner of my mouth and I'm looking straight through the peep sight, and by me looking straight through this peep sight, I don't really have to focus on everything when I'm at full draw, so it's like automatic by me looking through this peep sight. So that's one cool thing about my low light shooting. By me being at full draw, I'm already looking through the peep sight. Only thing I focus on is the kisser button and the pin, and that really increased my my harvest ratio. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the next. I'm going to talk about my hunting setup that I had in Africa. These are the Slick Trick Magnums. When I took these things to Africa, my PH looked at these broadheads and he laughed at me because he said, them little bitty things, he didn't even know that I was going to be able to get some pass-throughs on here. Special thanks to Jonathan Thompson, my cousin, on introducing me to these Slick Trick Magnums. I really like them. These are, to be so small, these are devastating broadheads. And like I said, my Africa trip, I put 6 animals down with these things, and these things are devastating. 396 grains total weight, and a lot of guys shy away from arrow this light, but in Africa I got a pass through on the kudu. Like I said, I didn't get a pass through on the wildebeest because it hit that other shoulder, but it was great penetration, and I put all animals down, all 6 of them down with this setup here. Like I said, the Maximum Hunter 350s with the Slick Trick Magnum. This thing here, this is one of the broadheads I actually used. I can't remember which animal I used it on, but I used it on one of them, and it's still intact. So all I have to do is just sharpen it up if I want to reuse it. But I'm planning on using these this year. I'm not sure. I bounce back and forth with these and the hypodermics, but on the hypodermics, I've harvested 11 bucks with the hypodermics, and these things are, I'm sorry, 12 bucks with the hypodermics. These things are devastating when it comes to a whitetail. I guess anything else, but in Africa they didn't want me to use these because a lot of guys would come there with mechanicals, different mechanicals. I'm not saying these, but different mechanicals, and one blade wouldn't open, or they made bad hits and all that, so they wanted me to use the fixed blade. But these hypodermics are really cool. And again, it's 396 grains with this setup as well. And I've harvested 12 bucks, whitetail bucks with these here. I don't have any complaints with these at all. And who knows, I might carry both. I might carry both of these in my quiver, and this year, because like I said, uh, I'm real impressed. I'm very impressed with these slick tricks, and I'm definitely impressed with the raised hypodermics. But I'm not, I don't know, either one, or who knows, I might carry both. But I'm gonna share a clip on a couple of harvest shots that I did in Africa with these slick tricks. I'm gonna let you see the warthog and the kudu. All right, check them out. This clip with about my warthog. She came in for a drink of water, and they had a lot of drought going on in Africa, in South Africa. A lot of people don't understand that, but it's a drought going on in South Africa, and people are encouraging hunters to come over there and help harvest some of them because they're just dying. They're just dying out in the desert and everything else. So they're encouraging them to come over and harvest them, because not only helping the animals thin them out a little bit, they're actually putting money back into their conservation over there as well. So some people frown on that, but I think it's a win-win. You can help put money back, and also you help feeding the tribes over there. So getting back to this warthog, she came in for a drink of water and gave me a 30-yard shot. And like I said, that slick trick with the I had my Halon at the time, but with that slick trick with the Maximum Hunters, I mean, that thing was just driving like driving tacks. So take a look at that. On my kudu hunt, I was able to harvest a really good bull, but I had a choice between the Nyala and the kudu, and I wanted that Nyala real bad, but we got to the water hole, and as soon as we got back to the water hole to hunt that evening, we spooked him, and he would come in 3 days. We was in 3 days of hunting. He would come in like 2 times a day and torment me. And the tracker kept asking me, do I want to take him? And I was like, of course I want to take him, but I had no idea how much he would charge me because he wasn't on my list. But they gave me a choice of getting the kudu or the Nyala. And I kept saying, well, whichever one come in first. So the kudu came in and gave me a 23-yard shot. And like I said, once again, 396 grain arrow. And with that slick trick magnum, it put it on him. I mean, a pass through. So check that shot out. Over the years, I've shot a lot of different arrows, and when I finally started shooting Carbon Express, they really impressed me, because I shoot the Maximum Reds, the 350 Maximum Reds, and I also shoot the Maximum Hunters, the 350s. And the Maximum Hunters has the weight forward technology, and the Maximum Reds has the dual spine technology. And either one that I shoot, almost shoot the same, but just a tad bit different. But one thing about sound on an arrow is you talking about an arrow going 300 plus feet per second. You're gonna get some type of noise from an arrow versus one shooting 280, 275, 260, 290, but 300 to 320, 330, you're talking about a lot of sound coming off this arrow. And that's one reason why a lot of deer will actually duck the arrow, because when you hit that release on that bow, or crossbow, whatever you hunt with, this arrow is going to go through that air, and it's going to cause, sometimes it's going to cause a whistling sound. But in some cases, it might sound a little bit louder than other arrows because of the broadhead. So you got to take in consideration what kind of broadhead are you going to shoot, what type of mechanical or fixed blade, and that'll also determine on the sound of the arrow going down range. Because as soon as you hit that release, it's gonna sound off from the beginning to the end, and but the closer it gets to that deer, the quicker he's gonna react. So always take in consideration, it's not about going fast. Okay, I'm gonna take a shot with both of these arrows from down range and just let you guys listen to the sound coming down range on how these arrows sound. First I'm gonna shoot my my Maximum Hunter, and then I'm gonna shoot the Eastern Torch, and just let you listen at the difference in sound, and that'll give you a reason why a lot of deer duck arrows. Like I said, the heavier the arrow is, the quieter it's gonna be. But like I said, you also have to take in consideration of the broadhead as well. So I'm gonna take a couple of shots and let you guys listen. I hope you got a sound on those arrows. I couldn't tell what they were sounding like, so hopefully I caught that on camera. Alright, I hope you enjoyed my little video here. And I'm just showing a couple of tips that I play around with. Mainly arrow sound. A lot of guys don't pay attention to how the arrow sound going down range, because you really have to pay attention to everything on your bow. You have to pay attention to loose screws, and also make sure your loop on your bow is fits you. Don't have the loop too long, don't have it too short, and because if you have it too long, you're actually overextending your shot, and you're gonna really make a lot of bad shots. You're not gonna be consistent. And get a really good premium rest. Like I said, this is the HDX by QAD, made for the Matthews bow, and I love my HHA sights, but this is the Ultra, and with the wheel, because like I said, I used to use the one with the slider. It's not much difference. This is just a little bit more advanced, and I got some premium bowstrings, the Rogue 19 Pro strings for this bow, and it stays in sync. As you can see, these holes on the cam, top and bottom, just look through the inspection holes and make sure your bow is still in sync. And it keeps my peep sight in the center, these Rogue strings. And I shot this, I think I've shot this bow maybe like 80 times or something like that, and the strings still look good. I'm gonna put a little wax on them just to preserve them when I put the bow up, but it's ready to shoot. And don't overcomplicate your setup. Don't put too many bells and whistles on your setup, because when you're in the woods, you got to take in consideration something might get loose, or something might get knocked off, something might fall off. Don't have anything shiny on your bow, because it doesn't take much for that sun to hit a glare or something on your bow and catch that deer's eye, and he's gone. So I always make sure my bow is just as dull as possible, and that'll help me out. Like I said, I got this wood grip on here that Matthews put on this bow, and it comes with a great factory grip, but for some reason I just like this wood grip that I had to get used to, and it's just working great. I'm gonna go ahead and conclude this video, and hopefully this helped you out. But like I said, always pay attention to that sound of your arrows. Make sure you're not your arrows aren't too loud. Don't always get caught up into the hype of a fast bow. It's great to have a bow that's shooting 330 feet per second, but why? Because you got to be able to control it. anytime you got an arrow that's going that fast, it's not consistent anyway. You're gonna find an arrow that's gonna be thrown off, all kinds of stuff, because there's a lot of energy coming off of that bow if an arrow is going 330 feet per second. But like I said, I like mine to be around 300, but fortunately I'm shooting like 311 and 307 or 6, no 308 with the Luminoc and 311 without it, and that's plenty fast for me. And the slow in that area, my bow won't be so loud. Although this is a quiet bow anyway, but if I was shooting a 350 grain arrow, I guarantee you my bow will be louder than me shooting a 390 grain arrow, because it's taking up more energy when I'm shooting a heavier arrow versus a lighter one. So all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. I'm done talking. I guess sometimes I get a little carried away. Well, God bless you guys. Y'all have a safe season this year, and bless another person this year. Take somebody else hunting, and if you got some nice deer, take somebody else bow hunting and help them get a buck. I guarantee you, you'll be blessed by that. All right, God bless you. Take care. Iceman signing out.